Hi folks, this is Julie here. Kirsten and I have an awesome Service Day project for all of you, making cloth masks. One thing you can do as a service is just make a mask and wear it yourself to help protect other people from what you may be breathing out. And you can also make a lot and donate them to our health facilities. Mostly, these type of masks aren't for frontline healthcare workers to use, but they're for other folks. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to make 3 different size masks, small, medium, and then a large. And what I did is I had a pattern from another place, a wonderful website called The Fabric Patch out of Washington State. But the mask I decided, I have adapted this over time, been doing it about a month now, and I'm making this go down a little lower under the chin. So I'll attach, I'll scan this. So this is kind of my adapted mask pattern that I really like. And so I'm going to send that to you. All right, some materials you're going to need. You would want to print that out and make sure the scale is correct. I wrote, 1 inch, 2 inch. So when you print it, make sure your scale is accurate. And then you're going to want to cut it out. I label mine like this is a medium. And then this is the interesting material that is so great. It's called, it's a polypropylene fabric, and so it is non-woven. Because the outside of these masks are cotton, and so are the inside. It's all cotton. However, the liner is this polypropylene, so because it's not woven, particles, viruses, bacteria can't travel through it as easily as just through cotton. Now, this material has become extremely hard to get. So this polypropylene material is the same material used to make grocery bags. So if you have a grocery bag laying around, you could wash it and cut it up and use it for face masks for your family. I wouldn't use these to donate used materials, but use that for your family and use it as a liner. The other thing you'll need, like I said, is cotton fabric. All right, I'm going to show you the steps right now. Okay, folks, this is my first time voicing over, so please bear with me. Right now I am taking a pen and I am making an outline around the fabric, which is actually, this is the Olefun, is this polypropylene. That's the material that I'm using. And this is a size medium mask that I'm making. So I cut out 2 of those, push them to the side, and then I'm going to trace over on the fabric. There are 4 layers of fabric here. The right sides of the fabric are facing each other, and there are 2 sets of those. So you'll need 4 of these pieces for each mask. So I outline with a pen, because that's as high-tech as I am. Count, make sure there's 4, and then I go and I cut them out. I'm using fabric scissors because I found that regular scissors that we use in the classroom are really not good at cutting through fabric. It takes a long time. But if it's all you have, do your best. Maybe don't cut 4 layers at a time. Okay. All right, and after that's cut out, I'm going to separate them. Once again, the right side of the fabric is facing each other. The wrong side of the fabric is facing you, and you put the polypropylene on it and layer it. Now we're going to sew, and you start at the top, the nose piece, and you sew in about a 1/4 inch, nice and gently, along the whole front of it, the nose front. And I lock it in place and then cut off the extra fabric. Here what I'm doing is I'm cutting in just so it lays evenly when it's kind of a circular shape, so I cut in. This part, the second mask, this is the inside, and so I sew it 1/8 of an inch inward, so it's about 3/8 of an inch from the edge, so that it'll lay and just snuggle in to the outer part of the mask. And once again, I'm cutting in here, not over the line I stitched, but just so it lays flatter. All right. Now what I'm going to do is opening up the mask, and in order to have the nose kind of cinch around the nose piece, you want to put in some kind of a wire. And I found that a paper clip works great. I learned some of these hacks from the website, The Fabric Patch out of Washington. And what I did is that's about 2.5, 2 3/4 inch, and then I cinched the edges down so they don't stab you in the face. Having the coated paper clip is definitely key. That feels better than just wire. I was using wire a lot also, which is fine, but this feels better. So now here I'm going to try to center it. This is the trickiest part, I think, and I have the ends at least 1/2 of an inch in from the top. And I'm zigzagging here. So the stitch I'm using, like you can't really see it with the light. I'm using a zigzag stitch and it's going back and forth over the piece of wire. Okay, and then I lock it a lot in place on each end. And that holds it. At this point, you're going to nestle the two pieces of the mask together, and you're going to put the right sides facing each other. This is important. Don't put it inside out. Okay, I mean, you want the right sides facing each other so that when you flip it, it's going to come out right. So you start in the middle, fold over the top piece, lock it in place, and although you're kind of doing a half circle here, it'll lay very flat if you just line it up flatly, tuck it together with your fingers like that. I don't pin it. I mean, I suppose you could, but I find that it just flows better if you don't. Just hold it and hold it in place, and it'll kind of gently move fine with you. And then flip it, line it up again. You're going to make sure that the middle is still nice and snug, and then do the same thing. You're going to sew this side, and once again, it's about 1/4 inch from the edge. And then I lock the seams because I found that they were undoing if you don't. Okay, so the front and the top and bottom is sewn. Oh, the top is sewn. Now I flipped it. That's the bottom. All right, so at the bottom, I'm just going to start at one end and go straight across. You could start in the middle. I'm just starting at one end, going straight across. Hold it in place nicely and lock the ends again. So that's it for this part of the sewing. Now you're going to take your fingers and reach in and turn it inside, right side out. So you should have the whole mask have the right side of the fabric now. It was inside out. Then you go over to the iron and you're going to shape it. So I found that if you shape it now real nicely, open parts up with this iron, it's going to hold its form even after you wash it over and over. I've been washing these a lot, and they still hold their form if you get it set correctly when you first make it. The final thing you're going to iron from the top, you're going to cinch down on the iron down on the top pieces, but then you're going to take the end and tuck in 1/4 inch to 3/8 of an inch on each side and iron that down because you're going to tuck that seam right in there, and it's going to make it lay quite nicely. Then you bring it back over to the sewing machine, tuck in some elastic, put it in at least 1/4 inch, probably a little more. And this elastic is 3/8 inch, which I find a little wide. It was all I could get. It's a little wide, and I ordered some 1/8 inch cord. I think that'll feel more comfortable. I tried cutting this in half, and it just unravels. So I would say 3/8 is the widest you want to go. The other thing you could do is, I'm showing here, when you sew the bottom part, put it up at least 3/4 of an inch to an inch, because if you have it at the very bottom, you will create a gap in the mask, and it won't sit flat on your face. So the bottom piece should be up a little higher, and then you come to the top. Make sure you lock it in place by going 3 or 4 times over the elastic each time you're cutting over it. All right, cut the extra pieces off, and that is your mask. All right, folks, so this is the finished mask again. I attached the elastic a little higher on the top, up here so it's snug. You don't want a lot of gaps, and it should be close to your, take the wire and push it close, so you're really trying to prevent gaps. So be safe, do some service, make some masks for your family, and then if you can, help make them for the community. All right, you're awesome. Take care.